you're playing with Play-Doh, you know? It's like playing with Play-Doh. Today, I'm gonna make fresh homemade gnocchi with marinara sauce. And I got this recipe from my Uncle Nicky, who used to make this all the time. And a word of caution though, I make this and it's really good and I love it. And just recently, I went to the store, I saw this gnocchi in the freezer, and it looked pretty good. Didn't look very, looked kind of gourmet-ish. And I said, maybe let me buy some, let me try some frozen gnocchi, from the supermarket. See if it compares, and save myself some time, and save myself making a mess. But I gotta tell you, it doesn't compare. I tried it twice. It just doesn't compare to the homemade. So the rest of these, I'm gonna make them maybe like I'll use them as dumplings and soup or something like that. But never again. Always with the homemade. Doesn't take a lot. Pound of flour, pound of either ricotta cheese or potatoes, or a lot of people mix half and half. I like with ricotta cheese better. And for the marinara sauce, your tomatoes, your garlic, the tomato paste, olive oil. That's all this dish calls for. These are the entirety of the ingredients. Okay, let's get started. So as you can see, I've already started, and all it is to make the gnocchi is combining the flour with the ricotta cheese. Or if you have potatoes, you combine it with the potatoes. If you have potatoes, you gotta boil them first and mash them up, and then combine it. That's all it is. Some people use eggs as a binder. My uncle's recipe didn't call for this. I don't really seem to ever have any problem holding the macaroni together. So this is all it is. Just mixing so like your little kitty cat, like you're playing with Play-Doh, It's like playing with Play-Doh, just mixing it together. That's it. Just mixing it together and making it into basically a dough. So we're just continue doing this, and we'll be back at you when pretty much the dough ball is fully formed. Okay, so now as you can see, I've made the dough, and what I did was I made them into little balls. You can make it into a big lot. It doesn't really matter how you do it, but I rolled them up, and I tell you, I had a little difficulty. I've never done just ricotta cheese before. When I made ricotta cheese gnocchi, I always had some potatoes left over. I always threw them in. So just using the ricotta cheese, I realized that I needed a lot less flour, so it makes a lot less. So I initially said you want a pound of ricotta cheese to a pound of flour. Well, you want a pound of potatoes to a pound of flour. I guess because of the starch in the potatoes or something, it absorbs more water. It absorbs more of the flour. With the gnocchis, I would say I used about half, 8 ounces. So, no big deal. I just used. I'm just making less. So if you want to do it with ricotta cheese, you want 2 pounds of ricotta cheese to 1 pound of flour. Or what I did, 1 pound of ricotta cheese to 8 ounces, half a pound of flour. Now, what you do now is just take them off the ball, and you want to roll them up. You want a little flour on them, otherwise they're going to be sticky. You can't do it. And you roll them to the thickness you like. I like them to about the size of a finger. This is about good. This is good. Now, also what ended up happening was, you can't see it, and you can't really feel it, but this particular ball has more ricotta cheese in it than it does, this was the last one I rolled up, than flour. So it's like lighter. These are like heavier. Whether this is going to be better or worse, or it's going to fall apart when I cook it, I don't know. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put these on the side, and I'm going to make them separate, and I'm going to compare. Which one do I like better? And if I like it better with less flour in the future, I'll use less flour. That's it's the only way you can do it. So this is about a good thickness, and then you just cut them to whatever size you want. This is a decent size. It's about the size of gnocchis you see in the fine Italian restaurants. Now here comes like the artistry of the culinary arts, which I don't really have. But you eat gnocchis in restaurants, they always have some sort of pattern to them. You know, you put them against a fork and or do something, you know, do something like that. There we go. Actually, it's pretty nice. I think I'm gonna do that. Now, it's leaves a little design. It's a little classy and whatnot. But there is actually a purpose to it. If you have indentations in it or bumps or a little, some people I know, they just put their pinky in it, make a little hole in it like that. It actually helps the sauce adhere to it better. So, and you know, just kind of looks cool. So, next step is, or the step I'm doing right now is, we roll and we cut our gnocchis into individual pieces. Okay, so here we are. We got the gnocchis are all made. These are the ones that had more of the ricotta cheese in them. They're all made up. My last word about gnocchis, I used all-purpose flour. You can use any flour. I've used whole wheat flour. It's worked very well. You could also use sweet potatoes. I've used sweet potatoes. Other types of cheeses that have a moisture content. I'm sure you can get maybe even that really loose mozzarella cheese maybe. But you can freeze them. You can refrigerate them for a couple days. If it's going to be more than that, you can freeze them. If you're going to freeze them, I would say make sure you cover them real well with a flour, because if not, they'll probably freeze and clump together. There's a moisture content to them. But that's enough about the gnocchis for now. Next stop, marinara sauce. Okay folks, we're at the stove and about to start the marinara sauce. Now, I don't care what they say. This is how I make my marinara sauce. Very simple, very rustic. Tomatoes. If I'm not going to use my fresh tomatoes from the garden, I use San Marzano. It could be organic or not. It has to be San Marzano certified peeled tomatoes. 28-ounce can. Olive oil, obviously. Garlic. Just garlic. No onions. I don't put onions in mine. Just garlic. A little bit of tomato paste. Salt, pepper, and a bay leaf. That's it. That's my marinara sauce. Very simple, very rustic. I start the marinara sauce by, as per normal, a couple tablespoons of olive oil in the pan, in the pot. Threw in a couple cloves of chopped garlic and the bay leaf. And this already smells like, if this wasn't burning hot right now, you want to drink it like tea. That's how good it smells already. But now in goes the canned tomatoes. Now they're plum tomatoes, so you know, get them started. If you just leave them alone, bring them to a boil, and they'll start to simmer. They'll simmer down. They'll break up. I like to break them up with the potato masher. Just give it a little quick break. Some salt. Pepper. Crushed pepper. Stir, a little quick stir. It's already at a boil, it's already boiling. And a good smear of tomato paste. It's good. Thicken it up a little bit. So now it's at a boil. And once it comes to a boil, what you want to do is turn down the heat. Turn down the heat, put the lid on it, and just bring it to a simmer. And let it simmer for a while. It'll break up the plum tomatoes a little more, and it'll cook off some liquid. It'll steam oil, evaporate some water, and thicken it up to where it's tomato sauce. While this is cooking, we're gonna start boiling our water for our gnocchis. I got a couple pots on the stove to boil some water. Usually you can just throw them in one pot, but as you remember, I have two doughs of gnocchi. One has more, appreciably, noticeably more ricotta cheese than the other one, and I want to do a little taste test sampling, see if I can even tell a difference, see about which one I like better. So I'm waiting for the water to boil. The marinara sauce is thickening up, and I think it's time. The chef, the culinary council, had a little libation here, a little libation going, huh? A little maybe a little glass of vino, a glass of white wine while I'm waiting for all these things to percolate, huh? Cheers. Water's boiling. It's time to make the gnocchi. All you do is you throw it in. So, how do you know when it's done? Good question. I'm going to answer it for you. When the gnocchis go in the water, they fall to the bottom. They're done when they start to float. That's it. Listen, this you don't gotta be a culinary genius to make this meal, okay? To make this dish. You know, and you don't need a lot of ingredients. I mean, what does it take? It takes mixing dough and potatoes, or dough and ricotta cheese, right? It takes a can of tomato sauce. It takes some olive oil, garlic, salt and pepper, water. I mean, what are we talking about here? All stuff that's probably right now in your pantry. And you know, and sometimes you say, oh, what am I going to make for dinner? There's nothing to eat in the house. I got to go out to eat. I got to go to McDonald's. No, you don't. You got a meal right here. This is it. I mean, this doesn't take a lot of culinary skill or knowledge. When you know, what you got to do is you fish out the gnocchi with a slotted spoon, and you put it on a plate, and that's it. Which is going to be our next step. The gnocchis are now ready. They're at a rolling boil, and you really can't see it, but they're at a rolling boil. It only takes a few minutes. What I did notice was that the gnocchis that had more ricotta cheese in them seemed to cook a lot faster. They started rolling around a lot faster. So it's in the back pot here. So we're going to put one of those here. I'm going to put another one. And even now, as they're rolling around, the lighter ones, the ones with less flour, are rolling at a much more rapid pace. So let's see if there's if I could taste the difference between them. It's very, very macaroni flavor feeling to it. Very like spaghetti-esque consistency. That's the one with more dough, more wheat. The one with more wheat has actually a more powerful flavor and a slightly stiffer, but it's not stiff, but a stiffer consistency. The one with more ricotta cheese has a lighter flavor. Neither one of these, it's not it looks heavy, but it's not. It's not a dumpling. It looks like they're heavy, but they're not. I like them both, but I don't like one over the other so much to like really focus next time on putting more or less dough or ricotta cheese. I think they're both really good. So without further ado, what we're going to do now is we're going to fish the rest of them out. And the marinara sauce is ready as well. And we'll drizzle some marinara sauce over them, and we'll be back in about a couple minutes here. Actually, for you, it'll be a couple seconds, not even.
Go to attackthatticket.com or call today, 877-99-NO-TICKS.
Okay, we're back, and it's time for the payoff pitch. It's done. I mean, just look at that. That thing's it's a piece of art. It's a work of beauty. It's a work of nature. You know, look, it's just beauty in a bowl. You know what I mean? Put a little Parmesan cheese on it. It makes it look even better. Look at that. I mean, you can't mess with this. Let's try it. This is always a home run. Whenever I make it, I mean, it's just always a home run. The sauce is perfect. It's not too heavy, you know. And really, what I like about this is, let's say you're having a little dinner party or something. This could be an appetizer or a main course. I actually like it for an appetizer. You know, it's very very classy to make as an appetizer. Anyhow, like I said, it doesn't take a culinary genius to do this one, and it is just tremendous. It's a chilly fall night. This is like ultimate comfort food. Nothing really bad about it for you unless you eat too much of it. But anyhow, glad you watched the Culinary Council series, and bon appetit.